Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empowered Conversations, where I have amazing conversations with extraordinary people who are out doing beautiful things in the world in service to others, as well as just all around living their best lives. And let me tell you guys, that is none other than my friend, new friend today, Deborah Atella. OMG, you cannot understand how through the roof excited I am to be speaking with her. We actually met in person over the holidays, her, I, and Edna Valentino, and it could not have been more perfect. It could not have been more wonderful. These two women are everything that I've been experiencing of them the past year. Anyway, guys, let me tell you about Deborah. About almost said Edna. Deborah is a certified life coach, meditation teacher, and Reiki master. She hosts the Tell It Like It Is podcast and created the Sisterhood of What's Next Facebook group. Deborah is the best-selling author of the book, Is This Job My Jam? The guide for grown-ups who still don't know what they want to be. Deborah spent years excelling at jobs that she didn't love, trying to find work life balance as a mom while also hiding her spiritual gifts. Her pursuit of self ultimately led to clarity, relief, and the start of her coaching healing business. Deborah helps her clients figure out what they really want to do, navigate the issues that arise with making changes, and bring more JOY in capital letters into their lives. One of the biggest values is truth. So the Tell It Like It Is podcast focuses on Deborah and her guests telling the true, behind the scenes stories of their lives, relationships, and businesses. As a skillful connector, she brings women together in community in the Sisterhood of What's Next Facebook group. Born and raised in Philadelphia, Deborah now lives in the suburbs where where she and her handsome husband, Jeff, raised their three now adult children. When she isn't working, she loves going on adventures, cooking giant Italian meals with gravy, not sauce, resetting at the beach. Oh, I love the beach, one of my favorite places. And most of all, playing with her adorable grandson, which I hope we get a little glimpse of him during the podcast. Everybody, whoop, 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 whoop. Drum roll, please. Help me in welcoming Deborah Atella, like it is, girl.
Steph, that's so awesome. I want you to
Oh.
follow me around everywhere I go, or I'm going to record that before I walk in every room.
Okay, done and done. I'll fly up there every day, girl. Oh my
You can
God.
announce me. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're so fabulous. God.
As are
So
you.
thank you. So yes, I mentioned, the three of us getting together and having
Yes.
so much fun in Phoenixville that afternoon. And that was, that was really wonderful.
It was really special, and I'm so happy that we were able to make it work.
Yeah, I know, I know. And you know what's funny? And I meant to do a live about this. My boyfriend, like it was supposed to snow and then like I guess there's a route to get to Phoenixville from Minersville, like
Okay.
78 or something. There's all this construction and traffic. My boyfriend and his brother were like, Stephanie, 78's a nightmare. People wreck and blah, blah and die. And I'm like, I'm sure my GPS won't take me that way. Like there was nothing
Hmm.
there was nothing stopping me. I'm full speed ahead. I am full speed ahead. When I want something, I'm like, you know what? If something arises, that's a complication. I deal with it when it arises. And then like the night before, it was like, Stephanie, it's supposed to be snowing. It wound up. I was like, okay, all right. Well, if I'm not supposed to go, then I'm not. But that is not what the universe had
That's
in
not what
store for us
happened.
that day.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. But yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
so awesome to finally get you here and
Yes.
have you on Empowered Conversations.
So happy to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I like to get really deep
All
and
right.
just real with my guests. I want them to, really share their heart and their soul through their voice. And one of my first questions is, what in your life, what experiences, what revelations, what epiphanies, like happened for you, through you, that enabled you to just have this conscious awareness of, wow, you know, I want to serve others. I want to, become a Reiki teacher. I want to, what can, if you want to share some of your story.
Sure. So from always in
Hmm.
my life, from when I was very little, I always had a sense, right? I always had feelings about people or situations. And as a little child, voicing these things, I would get in trouble.
Yeah.
I would get in a lot of trouble. That's disrespectful. You don't talk about adults like that. Blah blah blah. You're a baby. Like, what are you talking about? You don't talk like this. So throughout my life, I learned to like tune in but shut up about it, and
Right.
just like mostly like keep myself safe or whatever.
Hmm.
But like
Hmm.
not always like you know knowing there was something different about me and trying to hide it and
Right.
just trying to fit in and not stand out and you know go about my life. When I was 36 years old, I had a near death experience and I hemorrhaged to death. And when I hemorrhaged, I went and was in the light and knew it and was like, "Oh, can I curse?"
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I thought
We're
so.
adults here.
Right. And I was like, "Oh shit, I am in the light." Like I knew it, right? That was my reaction. And as I was there, my cousin, this was in 2005, and my cousin Laura, who we called each other Bud, we were like sisters, had passed in 92, was there and sent me back and then stayed with me. I was in intensive care from Saturday to Thursday. She stayed with me from Saturday till Wednesday night when they knew that I was okay. My father in law, who passed in 2000, and my brother in law, who passed in 91, were there in my hospital room as well the entire time. And to me, it was, of course, they're here. It's so natural for them to be here. And my
Right.
husband's like, "Stop saying it. Stop saying it. Like, they're going to get a straitjacket." Like, and then afterwards, I would tell people the story. And then people would look at me like I was nuts. So I like shut up about it for a
Right.
long time.
So I have a
Right.
question. You were pronounced dead?
I just, I wasn't pronounced dead. I just had this experience that
Right.
as they were moving me. So what I was told was, so what happened was I was in the emergency room, and the doctor came in and said they had to move me to another part of the emergency room.
Mhm.
And then they were getting a room ready in intensive care. When he told me that they were going to be taking me to intensive care, moving me, I sat up in the bed and I was like, "I'm not going to intensive care. I'm going home. I have 3 babies. I got to go home. I'm
Oh my god.
I'm fine.
I get it. Like, I got shit to do. I
I'm
don't have time to be
busy."
laying here.
It was it was January 15th, 2005. My Christmas tree was still up, and my mother was at my house because, somebody had to come and stay with the kids. My husband came in the ambulance with me, and all I'm thinking is, "Oh, she's going to be bitching. My tree's up. I got to get home. I got to get the tree down. This is ridiculous. I'm busy."
Never mind you've been in the hospital.
Never mind that, like, I just bled out like ungodly amounts of blood and I'm blue.
Right.
And I like fell and passed out and smashed my face and forget all of that. I got to go home. I'm busy. And so the doctor was like, "Listen, you're not going home. You're going to intensive care." And I threw up and I passed out. And what
Mhm.
my husband said happened was that I came back around,
Mhm.
they scooped me up, sent him to the waiting room, and they took me away to another part of the emergency room. What I know happened was I threw up, I passed out, I was in the light. So I
Right.
don't know all the chaos that ensued when that happened and when they took him, away or whatever. I just know I threw up, I passed out, I was in the light, and
Do
that
you
was it.
mind sharing what it was that caused you to hemorrhage?
Sure, sure. So I had heel spurs and plantar fasciitis, and if anybody has ever had those, you know how frigging painful it is. My foot felt like, it was the pain was ungodly. I
Right.
never take anything. I'm not a medicine person. I'm not quick to take anything.
Right.
I was in so much pain, and I went to the podiatrist, and he gave me like a prescription strength anti-inflammatory, a prescription,
Yeah.
and they were pulling that medicine from the market. So he put me on an over-the-counter pain reliever, and he told me to take double the recommended dose, and that would equal the prescription dose of it.
Right.
Well,
Right.
within 2 weeks of switching to this over-the-counter brand, I hemorrhaged. I had a massive GI hemorrhage. And I mean, I lost almost all the blood in my body. I had 4 transfusions in less than 24 hours. As soon as I got in intensive care, they started transfusing me.
Right.
I had 2 right away, and then I had 2 later on that
Gotcha.
day. Yeah. So that's what caused the
Yeah, as you're
over-the-counter medication caused the GI bleed. So I
yeah.
have this like experience, but then people are all like, "Oh, you're talking about yourself, dead people." So I like shut it down. Um, and then I had like all these different work experiences that were not my jam. And we bought a business that I didn't want, that I hated, that caused us like enormous stress and debt. Um,
Mhm.
and as we came out of it, I went to work for a friend,
Mhm.
and we closed the business, and of course took a huge financial loss when we closed this business that we had. And I went to work for a friend in his optometry practice. And it was a blast. I loved working for him. I loved my coworkers. We literally laughed every single day. It was the best work environment I had ever been in. Okay. And I went from just working the desk, he needed somebody very part-time, to managing the practice within a year, because
Nice.
that's what I
Gotcha.
do, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
I learn how to do stuff, and then I just take over and do everything. And so I was working for him, running this optometry practice, and we had evening hours on Wednesdays. And every Wednesday, I would sit on my couch and be like, "What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life?" I always had the sense that I was meant for more, but could
Mhm.
never figure out what the more was. And it was on my nerves, Steph. It was on my motherfucking nerves that, like, how could I
I
be? And
get
I was
it.
like 48 at the time,
Right.
48 and a half. And I'm like, shouldn't I? Am I like, I'm supposed to be an adult? Shouldn't I know? Like, why do other people know what they want to do? I never know what I want to do. I never have a job that I'm like doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing. I always know somebody, or a friend knows somebody, and I end up in
Mhm.
these jobs. What
Mhm.
am I doing? And I'm constantly building other people's dreams and lives for them, right?
You're right.
And where's what am I doing for us? Like, how are we going to get out of this debt from this business that we closed? We're not, like, it's not going to happen with, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just had a thought about
Yeah.
so every time that you suppressed
Yeah.
what was natural to you from almost birth or
Yeah.
since you were a little child, I think that these times that got these jobs, they were just situations in which it was like the universe tapping you, a wake up call to get you to start asking those questions because everybody's on their own journey, guys. Every
Yes.
single person. Nobody's like just because Deborah doesn't in this time frame doesn't mean that you don't do it in a completely different other time frame. But
Yes.
it's about asking those questions. And I love how you kept at like what's like you knew that there was something bigger and more
Yeah.
grand that you were meant for, that your purpose because of your passion that you kept, sequestering down within all those years.
Yes.
Just an yeah.
I just knew, right? And I
Yes.
knew what it was like. I knew what it was like to not listen to myself.
We've
And
all
I
been there.
knew that every time that I didn't listen to myself, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Every time
Yeah.
I mistook
Mhm.
my intuition,
Mhm.
like, for something else, it was a disaster. So I
Mhm.
really learned how to pay attention to the way that that sounded versus the way that my ego sounded.
Right.
And I learned how to pay attention to feelings in my
Yes.
body instead of suppressing them, right? But I'm like thinking, I'm like 48 years old. I have these 3 kids. The youngest was in high school, the middle one was in college, the oldest one was in the like working in his full-time job, buying a house. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? What is happening? And I was like, I know. I'll meditate. I'll meditate every day for a year and the answers will come. I get this idea, right? But I knew that it was the right thing, Steph. Like I
Yeah,
knew it in my
absolutely.
bones.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, I was a big fat quitter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how was I going to keep this promise to myself? How was I going to, and I had been meditating. Now we're jumping to 2017. Okay. I started meditating in 2012, but I didn't make it a habit. But I knew the benefits of whenever I did it, right? I felt it,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
just never made it a habit. So now here's
Right.
2017. I'm 48 and a half, going to be 49. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this every day. But I know I quit every friggin' thing I ever try. So I only have to do it for 1 minute, just 1 minute. And while I'm only doing this for 1 minute, let me start a whole morning routine. And I'm going to do a whole morning routine. And I had read the book, The Miracle Morning. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I'm going to do a morning routine. And I only have to do everything for a minute. I could do it longer if I want, whatever. And April 6, 2017, I started out on this journey. And it was the first time in my entire life that I kept the promise, like to myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And over that year, so much clarity came. And it
Mm-hmm.
didn't just come in silence, right? What came in the silence was
Mm-hmm.
try this, do this.
Yes.
And it increased my confidence by me keeping that promise to myself. It increased my confidence so much that I tried things that were so uncomfortable. Because if you've
Yes.
ever spent time in silence, you know how uncomfortable it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I got to be okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
right? And then I have a mantra, I'm always in the right place at the right time with the right people. And I just kept getting led
Yes.
all the time to the next
Yes.
person, to the next thing, to the
Yes.
next person, to the next thing. And it all just, ended up to here we are.
Oh God. Deborah, I absolutely love that journey. And I had a thought, oh my gosh, and it just left me. Um, oh, guys, if you can do anything for 1 minute. And I love how you gave yourself grace
Mm-hmm.
in the quitting and go, okay, well, what can I do to where I maybe cultivate a habit of not quitting, where I
Yes.
cultivate a habit of continuing, and that 1 minute meditation? Because I will say myself, like, when I'm going through something or when there's like seems like there's an upheaval, energy going on in my
Mm-hmm.
life, it's like, Stephanie, just sit down and be silent. Just sit down and breathe. Just sit down. And I'm always running 1,000 miles an hour 100% of the time. And it's like, no. And it's like, oh, but I got this to do. I got that. Oh, got that. I got to think here. I got to get here. Go here. And it's like, no. But you're right. When you actually take that time to just be in a place of peace and silence and just focus on your breath. And what I do is, like, I focus on the different chakras and the different
Mm-hmm.
colors of the chakras. And there was someone who had this meditation, a part of this tarot class that I took,
Mm-hmm.
and talking about how, like, here, my root chakra is open, fully aligned. My sacral chakra is open, fully aligned. And you just go through and allow that to open up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many, there's a billion different ways to meditate, but
Yes.
just making the concerted effort to do it, guys, and being in the, and like what you said, you kept hearing, try this, because the universe, like, all you got to do, like all prayer and meditation is that access to that consciousness that
Mm-hmm.
maybe we weren't accessing or aware of at that before, that now we're aware of and we're able to connect to and create from.
Yeah, absolutely. And not forcing your agenda on it.
Right.
Being
Right.
able
And
to,
that's hard too.
it's so hard. And being able to be like, okay, like having true faith that I
Mhm.
know the answers are right here for me. They're
Yes.
going to come. I'm going to recognize them. I cannot miss what is meant for me
Absolutely.
ever. I cannot miss it. And so just really believing that, and then stepping back and like waiting. You know what I mean? You're
Mhm.
still doing stuff. You're not
Yeah.
just like not doing stuff. You're taking
Right.
actions and you're living your life and you're doing stuff. but knowing
Yeah.
that it's going to reveal it to you, and
Right.
being open to it might not look anything like you think it
Mhm.
should look or could look.
And taking action again on what has come available to you
Yes.
through
Yes.
that try this or try this. And
Yes.
you spoke of being uncomfortable. You being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and yeah, putting yourself out there, trying something new, doing something that expands the growth of yourself and
Yes.
forwards you in that forward direction of your journey. It creates vulnerability, and I think I shared this with you and Edna either yesterday on Clubhouse or recently about the week that I released the 100 copies of the Gold Star Standard Edition of my book. And through that week, the excitement of, because my phone was constantly dinging because people
Mhm.
were hitting that PayPal button, so I was getting those constant email notifications.
Yep.
And after that first couple of days, there was this feeling of vulnerability. So there was a high,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden it was like, wow, I'm feeling like, look at all these people who believe in me and who want to want this that I've created. And there was this sense of vulnerability with it that
Yes.
I felt like, wow, this is uncomfortable, and like, and it was scary.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I shared that Louis Ajay video with you and Edna, and you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because
You
that's where
do.
all the beautiful shit happens.
It really is, right? It really, really is. When I was writing my book, I felt like I was coming undone, and that like I was being like squished, like all my
Yeah,
bones were being broken. Like it was the
yeah.
most interesting process ever.
Mhm.
And I was like so there's got to be another word than uncomfortable, because it was excruciating for me when I was
Right.
writing that book.
Right.
And
Release of all the stuff
yep,
that is being shared.
yep, yep. And I had it in my mind, which I know better,
Mhm.
right? I know better, that I was going to, have, my Wayne Dyer moment. So Wayne Dyer would wake up at 3
Mhm.
a.m., be inspired. He would write his books. He literally wrote his books longhand in cursive, and then he would have them transcribed,
Right.
and here's me, oh yeah, I'm like connected. I do this. And I'm just going to get waking up, and the book is going to come through me, and it's not going to be, it's going to be all like lovely and light and blah, 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 blah. And it didn't happen like that.
Yeah, it's
And I
painful.
started to get really upset about it. And I had coaches, as I was writing
Mhm.
this book. And one of my coaches was like, how's that serving you? Like, how is that serving you? What buzz are you getting from being mad that that's not
Mm.
happening? What are you letting yourself off the hook?
Thank you.
Right?
Mhm.
And so I had to I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like I'm being like, I was like throwing like a tantrum, like a little, like a
Mhm.
little child stomping their foot. Like it's
Mhm.
not happening the way I want it to happen, and blah, blah, blah. And when I let it go, of course it flowed then,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
It flowed in ways that you didn't think. And then when I would go back and read, and I'm like, oh, where did that just come from? Where did that just like came? I, I don't even remember thinking that.
Mhm.
And there it is on the page. Um, some of it, most of it, it was me. Okay, I totally know what I just wrote. But it was excruciating writing that book. I felt
Right.
so vulnerable. I felt so exposed. And then knowing people were going to read it
Right.
and
And
judge it. And then I thought,
oh,
you know
yeah.
what? Show me your book then. You don't like my
Exactly,
book?
thank you,
Show me your
exactly,
book.
thank you, exactly. And, a lot of I've been you and Edna both know that I'm writing this autobiography, and I've been writing it going on 6 years now, and I'm always taking notes in my phone about various
Mm-hmm.
chapters, to add to the
Yep.
chapters, and, but it is an ultimate, ultimate, ultimate reveal. Like, I'm not holding back anything, and that is really gonna be putting me, in that place to be judged, to be,
Mm-hmm.
people, or to be, and to be celebrated.
Right.
And it's like, but I think like what you were saying, going through some of these emotions, it's like I go through this. Should I really share this? Should I
Mm-hmm.
really? And then I think, what if you don't? And then I think, what could happen
Mm-hmm.
if you do?
Mm-hmm.
For others who have
Yes,
experienced the same situations.
absolutely.
Paradigms, shifts of paradigms, which I know in my heart need to happen, but
Yeah.
now I want to talk about the inch method. So I bought your
Ooh.
book like a couple months ago, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
and reading it. And I want to talk about the inch method. Tell my people about the inch method.
All right. So in my book, I take you through how to figure out if your job is your jam, right? Or what job is your jam. And I take you through my signature program. It's called Inch. And
Hmm.
so the I is for identify, which is
Uh-huh.
just an acronym, right? And it's for identify. And we need to identify what the problem is, what we think the problem is, right?
Right.
And what's the goal.
Hmm.
But we also need to identify how we feel and how we want to feel. And a lot of people
Hmm.
skip this part when they're trying to make a change or bring something new into their lives, right? And they
Hmm.
don't pay attention to the way to all the different things in their lives make, their feelings about it and how do they want to feel. So we look at that. We also identify what are we good, what are we better, and what are we best at, right? And
Yeah.
identify what do we already know because we know a lot of stuff. We've been on this planet for a while now, right? We've been to school or we've had experiences and maybe we've had, other higher education or different courses or classes or retreats that we've been on. What else do we know, right? And then how can we take all of that knowledge that we've just identified? What are we going to do with it, right? And then we move into N, which is for non negotiables. And
Yes.
when I coach people, I always ask, what are your values? And
Hmm.
I 9 times out of 10 get this my values, values. What are my values? Like everybody's like deer in the headlights and whispering it back to me. You
Right.
need to know your values.
Hmm.
Like, and I just always say, like, do a quick, search, Google whatever your search engine is that you like, search values, look at them, pick your top 10. What are your top 10 values? Because as you're going into a job, or a business, whatever it is, if you are working for or with people that don't
Hmm.
have similar values than you, it's miserable,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
miserable. It's a
Right.
miserable existence. And you
Right.
need to know what your priorities are.
Yeah.
So I used to work when I had we had a retail business, my husband and I worked almost every single night and weekend for over 3 years. My schedule is one of my top priorities. That I have the freedom to create my schedule. Like I don't trade that for the world, right?
Oh, I
Like,
love, yes.
yeah. So
Yes.
and knowing your money,
Hmm.
what's the least amount you will accept, right? Like
Right.
what do you need to live? What do you,
Hmm.
know your numbers and then what will you accept, And knowing, you know, other things like, how much growth do you want here? How much contribution, all these different things that tie into like your values and your priorities, and then putting them together. And they're my non-negotiables as I move forward, right? And then the C is for change. And how do we make a change? And what are all the things that come up and get in our way when we make a change? Right. And then working through that
Lots.
mindset and
Hmm.
knowing, okay, this is how I handle this. This is how I handle that. And I also talk a lot in the book about knowing what's a yes for you and what's a no for you and getting in touch with that feeling in our body of yes and no, right? And really being able to differentiate between our intuition and our ego, right? Like our soul voice, or just like our human voice, which listen, we need our egos. They keep us
Hmm.
safe. They let us
Hmm.
know that we can't jump off a
Absolutely.
20-story building and
Yeah.
fly,
They're there
right?
for a reason. Hmm.
They're there for a reason, but their main reason is to protect us. So when we
Hmm.
go to make a change, it's scary. And our brain's like, no, no, no,
Right.
danger, Will Rogers,
Right.
don't do that, right?
Right. Hmm.
So the ego is always going to be loud, and your soul voice, your intuition's firm but soft.
Right.
and it
Right.
doesn't fight back.
It's
And
whispering.
it is, and it doesn't
Mhm.
fight back, and it doesn't
Mhm.
give you ultimatums, and it doesn't give you either or situations. It's
Right.
just a calm fact,
Right.
right? And
Right.
being able to learn to trust that, right?
Mhm.
And then the H in the inch method is for hallelujah, which is really celebration. But I had to make, the acronym
Woo!
work, right? What happens is we don't celebrate ourselves along the way, and we need to. If we go from task to task to task, we're in a never ending task loop. And I compare it to like tangled up Christmas lights.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no beginning, there's no end. There's just this big
Ugh.
ball, this big mess. And we're like, how am I ever going to undo this? And so we get overwhelmed and we get burnout, right? So we need to, along the way, celebrate ourselves. I celebrate everything. My main form of celebration is happy dancing. But it could be anything.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'll finish something, like when we're done here, I will do a happy dance.
Yes.
Literally, like I'll finish dishes that I didn't want to do and I will do a happy dance. Like you can
I love
high five
that.
yourself in the mirror,
That's
pat yourself on the back, take your dog for a walk, buy yourself a treat. I try to like stay away from the buy yourself stuff because I celebrate everything and I save
right.
that for like the big stuff. Like
Yeah,
when my book came out, I bought
yeah.
myself a beautiful bag that I wanted,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Yeah, and I love that because 'cause I'll be happy dancing all damn day. I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, put the laundry away. Woo-hoo!
Yes.
Oh, I got
Yes.
dressed. Woo-hoo!"
And some days, right? It's as simple as that because we need to
Yeah.
cheer ourselves
Yes.
along.
Yes, guys. Yes.
We do. We really
Yes.
do. It makes
Yes.
a major, major, major difference. It changes that chemistry in our brain, right?
Yeah,
So it
yeah, yeah.
becomes, things like journaling or
Mm,
meditating, running, yoga, everything's a practice, right? It's
mhm,
just we're
mhm.
practicing and we're forging those new neural pathways in the brain, right?
Yes.
Because the neurons that fire
Fire
together,
together.
wire
Fire
together.
together.
And that's what we want. So why not make
Mhm.
it the good stuff?
Yes, yes.
So that when the bad stuff comes up, we have tools.
Right, and the repeated action of doing that is what creates those neural pathways to
Yep.
continue to wire and fire together,
Yep.
and you've seen What the Bleep Do We Know, right?
No.
Okay, that phrase, neural, like,
Yeah,
pathways that
yeah.
fire together, wire
Mhm.
together, wire together, fire together. What the Bleep
Uh-huh.
Do We Know? It's a phenomenal documentary. I have it on DVD. Um, I know it's on Gaia TV. You have to have a subscription, but you can just Google "What the
Yeah,
Bleep Do We
yeah.
Know?" But it's about quantum,
Yeah.
and again, how mindset creates our realities. If you
Yes.
have a negative mindset, it seems that it's like your antennas are out to, and because what we focus on, we tend to receive a lot more of, because if
Absolutely.
you're focused on what's wrong and going wrong and negative and bullshit, and this is going to happen, and always in that fortuitive, life sucks, then
Yep.
that's gonna mirror. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, you'll have some good, but maybe you don't even realize that the good's there. But then when you start focusing on, all the good, and seeing the world as a good place, and seeing people as in general good, and again, I know there's unfathomable
Of
circumstances that people have
course.
experienced, but
Yes.
again, it's about cultivating a new, like a heart wave of consciousness that then is attuned to what is beautiful and good and amazing out there, and for you in your life.
Yes.
Um, but and what I love about the inch method that you created, Deborah, is this can be used in just about every area of life.
Every
Health and
area.
wellness,
Yes.
you know, jobs, like physical fitness,
Relationships.
relationships,
Everything.
money,
Everything.
everything.
And so, an inch is a tiny measurement, but
Yes,
it's
yes,
powerful. And
yes,
so when we do
yes.
things, when we take little tiny baby steps towards our goals or changes, whatever it is, that we want to do, it lessens our overwhelm. And we are
Mhm.
already overwhelmed. We are already stressed out. We don't need
Yes.
anything else
Right,
coming up to derail us from what we want, right?
right.
So if we just break it down into little tiny steps, little tiny inches, then we can have greater success. We're not going to
Mhm.
be overwhelmed. We're not going to burn out. We're not going to
Right.
be overly stressed. So then we're
Mhm.
more likely to follow through. And every
Yeah.
time we follow through, every time we take the next inch, we, move up 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Then what happens is our confidence rises, and then we're able to do more things.
Yes.
And it's not, like
Yes.
you said, it's not just about finding your job. It's about improving your relationships, improving your health. You know, it's any
Yeah.
area. You can use the inch method in any area of your life that you want to make a
Yes.
change.
Yes. And to your point about like using it in any area, it's like think about like what the INCH and everything that she went identify, non-negotiable. You know, what was
Change,
change? Yeah, because
change. Yeah.
again, if you want something that you've never had, you have to do something you've never done.
Yep.
And can anybody can in any area of their life implement the inch method.
Yes.
And so a person that was on my podcast is Jean Dorf. Um, he wrote a book, A Dancer's Movement to Stop Sexual Abuse and Overcoming Sexual Trauma. And he goes through, I finished reading his book like the other night. And again, I'm not discrediting anybody who's been through just like gut wrenching circumstances in their life. But if he and what he does with his clients
Mhm.
can overcome that lack of self-worth
Mhm.
that was bestowed upon him when he was sexually abused
Mhm.
and create this thriving life because he talks about everybody's here to thrive. You
Yes.
know, it's all just making the change and the choice that you're worthy of everything possible that's amazing out there in life, regardless of your past.
Absolutely. And something that I take off the table as soon as I start working with someone and it's in the
Mhm.
book,
Mhm.
I people come to me all the time. I want to know my purpose. I want to know my
Yeah.
purpose. What they're saying is,
Yeah.
I want to know that I'm important, that I've
Mhm.
done something important or I'm doing something important. Well, let me tell you, you living your truest, most
Yes.
beautiful life is your purpose. You living as the full expression of yourself is your purpose in this life. And
Cold
people get,
chills, girl.
right? People
Cold
get so
chills.
caught up in trying to answer that question, what's my purpose? What's my passion? Um, that they don't make any changes and
Yeah.
they get stuck,
Yeah.
or they listen to what somebody else thinks they should be doing
Right.
and deny that those parts in themselves that they know are not true,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
So, that's beautiful that how you just shared about, your friend and his book, and it I've had sexual trauma as a child. I've been what's the right word? Um violated as a
Mhm.
child and as an adult. I've had
Right.
sexual abuse as a child, and then I was attacked as an adult. Um, and that's another thing. People don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear your truth. I was told by family members that it wasn't true. It was totally
Right.
true, you know. And so taking that and not letting it break your total spirit, which it and it's horrible for people. And I'm not saying that,
Right.
if people have, they feel broken about that, or, I'm not diminishing that.
Right.
But there are the almost every healer I know, almost every
Yeah.
change maker that I that
Mm.
I that I have come in contact or that I've known has had some form of
Form.
trauma, not saying
Yes.
sexual trauma,
Right.
but some form of major trauma in their life. And because we've had trauma, right, we understand what it takes to
Right.
pull yourself out.
And the people who don't wanna hear are those that are in your like, it seems, I'm not making a solid
Right.
statement here, but it seems are the ones in your family that they wanna stay in denial because
Yes.
maybe it happened to them and
Yes.
they're wanting to repress that memory or something.
Yes.
I've been violated as an adult, adult female, and, on 2 different occasions. So But the people who need to hear it are those that either share a similar experience or know someone who has. And that's
Yes.
why it is important that we speak our truths. And,
Yes.
somebody posted something the other day. This guy is always in dissension about me or anything I post. And it's like, and it was like some scientist, I don't know. Like, but he was saying, "Oh, there's no such thing as individual truth, blah 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 blah. It's not your truth, my truth." I'm like, what that is our personal life experience,
Yes.
past, present, potential future. That is our truth, and that is a collective experience. We're not separate. Everything is one. We're all of one another and of everything. And in that connection is that conglomeration of our individual truths
Hmm.
that is weaved, that could help someone else who's experienced a
Yes.
similar situation. So
Yes.
please be your authentic selves. Please be your
That's your
truth
purpose. Be
and
your
share.
authentic self. Like, and find a way, right? So happiness is very fleeting. It's like the weather. It comes and it
Right.
goes. People can take your happiness. Joy. Joy lives deep inside
Oh,
your
Jules.
soul, right?
Yes.
No
Yes.
one, no one, no one, no one can take your joy, and you can
No.
access it at any time,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so on the worst days in my life that I suffered the biggest losses,
Oh.
right? Lost the biggest people in my life at the time. I have also been able to access joy. I
Yes.
have been able to be completely destroyed.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know how I'm going to get up off this floor. Like, just mop me the fuck up because I do not
Right.
know how I'm going to stand up
Right.
right now. I am like distraught, but I can feel joy at the same time too.
Mhm.
No one can take joy from you, and it's your job to find the joy inside of you
And choice.
and choice.
And
Yes.
sometimes we have a Facebook user that says, "Gotta jump. Thank you for your messages." Thank you, God. If you could put your name here, I know I'll see it when I get off, but you're probably watching from my FaRekin and You private group. I'd love to
Yes.
know in the chat who was watching. We've had several people popping on and popping off, and but this is our first comment, Facebook user. So, but thank you for being here. Whoop whoop. And yes, this has been Rebecca. Rebecca, thanks, girl, for watching. You and your children are so fabulous. Tell Andy hello. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. She's got the two of the sweetest
Oh.
children. Yes, yes, they're so cute.
Oh.
Um, yeah, my God, this has been an empowered conversation faux show. Oh,
Mhm.
we got to talk about Clubhouse, guys.
Oh.
For those of you, if you're watching on the replay or you're still watching us live, um, you and Edna created this, so you share.
Okay, so Edna Valentino and I, and Edna is like this enormous light, powerhouse light of a
Badass.
woman, right?
Yes.
Complete
Yes.
badass.
Yes.
Um, I met Edna online. Like, I met Steph online.
I
So
know.
Edna and I share a mutual friend and who has a Facebook group called like Badass Moms. I see her interviewing our mutual friend Jen
Uh-huh.
on there. And then I start following Edna. Somehow she ends up in my sisterhood group. Maybe Jen invited her in. I don't know. She watches my welcome video, which quite honestly I made a long time ago and forgot about. And I get, a notification that she made a comment and she's like, "I love you. Like, we need to talk." And then we like DM'd each other, we met each
Mhm.
other. She's like, "We need to do something together." Following her intuition, because here I am, a stranger to her, sounds completely crazy. She makes this offer to me like, "You want to like join forces and like do this show? Do you have Clubhouse?" And I'm like, "I don't know how to do it." She's like, "I don't know how to do it either." And I was like, so we were like, "All right, let's figure it out." And we create this club on Clubhouse called From Head to Soul. And we go live every Tuesday on there. Steph has been, I think you've been on almost every week with us.
Mhm.
And we have, right, an empowered conversation on there.
Yes.
And every week
Yes.
we're on there I think we do every Tuesday at noon with Eastern
Yes.
Standard Time.
Yes.
And we have like these amazing conversations. And if you don't know,
Yes.
Clubhouse is a social audio app. It's
Mhm.
audio
So
only.
we don't
So
have to look all beautimous. We just gotta be
no,
show up.
just show up. You can do it like driving. Be careful driving.
Yeah.
Lying in bed, at the gym,
On the
cooking.
elliptical.
Yeah, on the elliptical, putting your laundry away. You can do it from anywhere, right? And you
Mhm.
don't have to speak if you don't want to. You
Right.
can just
Just
listen in.
listen.
Right. Or if you have something that you want to share, you just like there's like a little icon, you click it and then you raise your
Yes.
hand and we bring you up and you can share. It's
Yes.
been so much fun. It's really
God.
fantastic.
Yes. And yesterday, like every week I'm always like I'll just go in, I'll add people, like some of the women that
Yeah.
are a part of my clubhouse. And I think my friend Lisa jumped on for a while. I wasn't wearing my glasses at the time, but I
Yeah.
remember
Yes.
Edna saying,
Yep.
"Welcome, Lisa."
Yes.
I don't think I'm pretty sure she didn't say anything, but
No, no.
Lisa, if
She
you're
just joined.
watching this, come back on. She's a goddess
Yes.
mastermind. She's got a goddess mastermind group as well. She's an
Ooh.
empowered woman. I need to have her on Empowered Conversations.
Yes.
Seriously, Lisa, if you're watching. Um, but yeah, guys, Clubhouse is so much fun. That's how I met you.
Yes.
You
Through
know,
Edna coming on
yes,
there.
coming
And
on
did you
there.
know Edna? Right.
Yeah, and then when
So
I
awesome.
realized you two both lived in Pennsylvania, and I was coming there for the holidays, and I'm like, it was only like an hour. It wound up being only an like hour and 10-minute drive, and then you're like 30 minutes from Edna. It's like holy damn hell. I'm sorry, we're making this happen. I'm
Yes.
meeting these people in person. I'm determined to meet Carol Boston, John Corbellini, Aaron Kazar. I mean, like I feel friendships with you guys
Yes.
that really, when I was able to meet you and Edna in person, like really solidified that
Yeah.
true, real, authentic friendship connection.
Absolutely, and we could not shut up, the 3 of
I
us. It was like
know.
nonstop. And we
Oh my
knew
god.
each other forever, right?
I know. And the virtual reality and her kids are so cute. And her
So
husband was
cute.
fabulous, and
Yeah, we had a
that
good
was
time.
yeah.
We really did.
So tell us. I gotta come on your podcast.
Yes, yes,
Tell
you
it
do.
like it is.
Tell it like it is.
Tell us about your podcast.
So my podcast is It's Tell It Like It Is, and I did a soft launch last year,
Uh
and so
huh.
we're gonna hit it heavy this year. And so one of my like biggest values is truth.
Yeah.
And what I see is, especially like, clients coming to me and they want to make these changes or start these businesses or whatever. And they're like, the market is saturated or I can't do it like this or I don't. And what I find is people are so busy comparing their real
Yes.
life to
Yeah.
highlight reels. It is not what you're seeing with, all the pretty gorgeousness that everybody posts. There's like so much behind the scenes that you're
Mm,
not seeing. So I
right.
created this podcast, I Tell It Like It Is. Nobody's going to have that name, right?
I love it.
Um, so I created it for people to come on and to share and tell the true stories about their lives, their businesses, relationships, what everybody doesn't see, what it takes to do what they do, to
Yeah.
be who they are, to have what they have, so that people stop comparing and start creating,
Right. Right.
you know?
And even with the realm of what you and I and Edna and Carol and John and all these people that we know that are doing similar
Mm-hmm.
ways of helping others, we're still all on our own different journeys.
Absolutely.
And when you're like, say you're having, and everything is also a cycle of flow. So you're not always supposed to be at 100%. As much as I love to be 100%, 100% of the time, I have to have those times where I'm experiencing. Because I think I can't remember who I was telling this recently, but my life is like that ship ride at the fair where it's
Yeah.
like way up this way and then it's way up that way, and it's never just going doom, 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 like there, and it's like, and it's sometimes it's even like looking at what each other is doing and try, and like, oh, well, oh my God, she did this week, or she did that this week, and holy cow, she's got this going on, and wow, and it's like, no, 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 don't, don't, don't compare yourself to what
No.
they're doing. We're all on our different journeys. We all have our own disappointments that are in line with being on that journey and creating what we're
Yes.
creating,
Yes.
and just have grace with yourself.
You never know, right? Like you see somebody that's doing something that you want to do, and
Yeah.
like they're on their chapter 5 and you're just at chapter 1, and you
Right.
can't compare that. you know? And
Thank
that's what
you.
people do. And they're
Thank
like,
you.
I should be further, or I should be this,
Right.
or I should be that. Well, look at all you have going on.
Exactly.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
You can't miss what's meant for you. And you're at the right place at the right time with the right people all the time. And if people would just like adopt those mantras, they're
Yeah.
so true. It's
Yes.
so, so true. You don't know what people have going on behind the scenes and what it
Mhm.
took for them to get there. So, and also, you know, I am a big follower of Mel Robbins. I love her.
Yeah, she's
She's
fantastic.
fabulous. And
Yes.
back in the day, she had a course called The Power of You. And I was in her inaugural class. I got to meet her. She's fantastic. But
Yeah.
I just lost what I was going to say. Hello, menopausal brain.
Oh my God.
So
Was it something about
fantastic.
maybe her journey? Because what
Right.
we see and experience of even her or Tony Robbins or um, Deepak Chopra or any,
Oh my
but
God. I hate this keeps happening to me, Steph. Why didn't I write it down? But all right, I'll just segue to this then. When you were just talking about your life here on the
yeah,
ride or here, I medium is hard for me.
yeah, okay,
Medium is hard for me. It always has been, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm like a hell yes or like a fuck no person,
I love
right?
it.
Yeah.
I
So when
love it.
things are medium or when things are calm, especially if you're somebody who's had a lot of trauma in their life, you're used to like a lot of chaos. So when things go just like steady, we start to get squirrely, right? And so part of like
Yeah,
my practice of meditating gave me was to be okay in the medium, was to not freak out in the medium, to not freak out when things were steady and not like taking it like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? I'm not stimulated enough or I'm not
right,
like activated enough. And
right.
being able to be like, okay, there's a message here in the medium too,
Yes,
not just in the up or the down, you
right.
know? Hmm.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense because, like, you know, 2 weeks ago when I launched the book and that was all exciting and high
Hmm.
energy, the next week I was experiencing lethargy and fatigue. And
Yes.
that was a balance. And that's the balance I was talking about earlier, that's necessary. And then this
Hmm.
week I've come down with a cold. So my body that's its physical way of releasing.
Yes.
Guys, and I know you're going to be like, what the hell she be talking about? Seriously, because of what I know and what I have access to and what I've studied and
Hmm.
what I read and what I'm a part of, I have access to that thought process that I'm on a high and like that was a very high week. And then there's lethargy. I took a couple days off from the gym last week, didn't push myself. I've learned instead of going,
Yes.
no, Stephanie, you got to get to the gym.
Yeah.
It's like, no, okay. And then this week, I came down with a cold on Monday afternoon. And the past couple days, I've had, this, again, and that's all almost like my body releasing and healing,
Yes.
letting go of what's no longer
You're
serving me.
shedding, like
Shedding.
totally,
Yes.
totally releasing. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I remembered.
Yes. Cool.
Okay. So Mel Robbins, a long time ago, I heard her say, if you wouldn't trade places with somebody, then why are you listening to them? Like, why are you listening to like their opinion
Thank
about what
you.
you're doing? Right. So there is not one human other than my husband, because I'm so fabulous, right? I might trade places with him so I could see how I am. Other than that I would trade my life
Yeah.
with, right? There's
Right.
not, no matter what anybody else has, no matter what anybody else is doing. I don't know what's behind what's going on with them. So
Exactly.
I stopped a long time ago comparing what
Hmm.
I'm doing and how I'm doing it to how other people do it, right? But
Absolutely.
so I'm a medium. And one of my gifts is that I'm a medium. But the way that my mediumship is the way that it shows up is very different than, say, the Long Island medium or like a psychic medium that you see on, other ones that you see on TV. When I'm in a session with somebody, I am not, for the most part, channeling their past loved ones. I'm not like, your grandmom said this, and your sister,
Right.
your brother, your uncle. I'm not giving messages like that. What I do is I take people in to have their own visit and let them meet their person, their loved one that they want to connect
Right.
with. I teach them every session. I teach somebody how to do this. And not that I'm trying to put anybody out of business, but we all have this, we all have the
Right.
ability to be able to do
Right.
this, right? And
Right.
and I'm taking them in for them to have their own visit. And then I step back out, and then we cleanse and we clear and we go on our merry way.
Yeah.
So I used to not say that I was a medium because my mediumship, the way that I experience it, is different than what people are used to seeing on TV.
So when did you get certified as a Reiki master?
So I've been studying Reiki for years, and like
Uh-huh.
go through all the different levels. I don't know when I started, in like 17 maybe, or
Okay.
18. And then I became a Reiki master last year.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was level 2 for a long time.
Because
And
that
that's a practitioner. Level 1 is just for you. Level 2, you're a practitioner, and now
gotcha.
I'm a master. Yeah.
Okay, because I am seriously thinking about becoming certified just because like this summit, this
Mhm.
retreat that I'm a part of out in Arizona
Mhm.
in May, like a lot of them that are speakers are that they're certified in Reiki,
Mhm.
certified in energy healing,
Mhm.
and I'm like that could only be of benefit
Oh,
to
of
me
course.
and for me and for others like in my own mindset and health coaching practice.
Absolutely. I truly believe the entire world should be Reiki level 1.
Thank
It's
you.
Reiki
Yeah.
level 1 is all
Yeah.
about connecting and taking care of yourself. And we all need that, right?
Yes,
Not
yes.
everybody has to be a practitioner and, have sessions with people. And as a matter of fact, when I started on this journey, and I said to my Reiki master, who was also my coach and my dear friend, and I was like, "I'm never laying my hands on people. I'm never practicing on anybody. I will never." And she's like, "Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Yeah,
all right, mhm,
yeah.
mhm," and
So
of course I
why were
do.
you resistant to that?
I was resistant to it because I I knew that the way that my gifts show up are different, and I didn't wanna have to constantly explain,
Mhm.
and I don't love laying my hands on people,
Okay. Okay.
but I don't have to. Like, I a lot of I mean, hello COVID, my sessions are all virtual. And that's perfect for me.
Right. Um, I'm sorry, we just got a weird comment through YouTube. I'm live on YouTube.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
their profile is women's rights was a mistake. Trump right about women. Women let 6 foot 4 inch rich good looking Chad to do anything with them. I don't know who the fuck you are, but that's not in alignment with mine and Deborah's core values. Anyway.
So God bless and see you
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. Yeah, that I love that, and that's so powerful. And one of the people on the retreat, her name is Steph Mahoney. She
Uh-huh.
sent me. All you have to do is ask, and she sends you these, complimentary download of.
Mhm.
The quantum codes that she
Uh-huh.
uses in her own practice to heal and to
Mhm.
teach others that, how to heal themselves,
Yes.
mentally, emotionally, physically, etc. And,
Yeah.
you know, so,
Yeah.
well, oh my
Every
gosh,
session that
yeah.
I do with people, I'm always my coaching, there's always energy work in my coaching.
Yes, yes.
Always.
Yes,
I
there is,
can't
there
help for
is.
it to not be, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're not just getting, business, this and that, whatever. You're learning. You're learning how to
Mhm.
listen to yourself, how to
Absolutely,
trust yourself, how to tap
absolutely.
in, you know, and
Right,
follow your path and be able to
right.
really, really trust it.
Yeah, and guys, it doesn't matter how sequestered you are in your shit, or how much you think that something's not possible, or how much just, oh God, well, I experienced this. I'm a victim of this. Not about it's about taking yourself out of blowing the doors off of victim mentality and becoming in victorious victor mentality and being in charge, having the power over your life. And everything's not going to go exactly the way you
Nope.
think that you want it. But just being on the path of that self-awareness of knowing what you want, knowing why, most importantly, because that's where the passion, that's where, if somebody asks you, you know, what's my purpose? Like, I don't know what my purpose is. It's like, tie that, like, what lights you up?
Yep.
What do you love about yourself? What do you love? What if time or money or space, or like there were absolutely no boundaries whatsoever, how would you be living your every single day? You know, and so, oh, I got to pay the bills, Stephanie. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, of course we got to pay the bills. But it's like, just ask yourself the question. Like, let's say you won $100 billion in the lottery, but money, time, everything's no issue. What what would your life look like? What would you be doing? Who would you be surrounded with? What
Yep.
places would you be traveling to?
Yep.
What activities would you, and just write it as though it is a possibility, because if anything's possible for anyone, anything is possible for anyone, but you have to have the consciousness.
You do. You have to be aware. Awareness is key, right? Awareness of how things make you feel, awareness of what you want. And it's okay to sometimes when, everybody's like, oh, don't ever focus on the negative. But sometimes the way to figure out what you want is knowing what you don't want. And then flipping it to, well, I don't want
Yes.
this. Well, that means that I must want this
Right, so
instead,
flip it, because it's
Just flip
important.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because if
Yeah.
you're focusing on what you don't want, well, I don't want this, I don't want, and I ask
Then
you,
you're
what
going
do
to
you
get more of
want?
that. But you
Right.
have to know. You have to
Yes.
know. Like me, I don't want to work nights and weekends unless I'm getting to do something super cool. Like I'll record a podcast or I'll be
Yes.
interviewed on a night or a weekend, or
Yes.
I'll
That's
teach
not
a
work.
retreat or things. That's my joy to do
Yes.
those things, right? That's my
Gorgeous.
love to do those things.
Gorgeous.
And that's my choice to do those
Yes.
things, right? So I know, right? Schedule is, one of my biggest priorities with my business. So I know that. So that I,
Mhm.
make, adjustments accordingly.
Mhm.
Getting to really take the time to know yourself, what's your non-negotiables in your life, what's your priorities in your life is huge, because then you have boundaries. Then you can set up your boundaries, right? And when we have our boundaries in place, it's easy to make decisions, because then you know what's a hell yes or a fuck no,
Hell yes.
right?
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why not make your life as easy, right, as we
Mhm.
possibly
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And as enjoyable, as like juicy and delicious as we possibly can. You know,
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I'm over 50,
Mhm.
and I just like I want to do all the things that I want to do, and I'm doing them. And so also what happens is, like, I manifested this. I wanted to sell my house and pay a bunch of stuff off and set my husband up for retirement, and it's happened, right? And what did I do? I freaked out. And my sister and I was like, we were in the middle of packing our house up to sell it.
Mhm.
And we lived in that house for 21 years. It was the longest my husband and I had ever lived anywhere in our entire lives, longer than
Mhm.
our childhood homes. We raised our
Yeah.
kids in this house.
Yeah.
We had a couple
Oh,
other houses before we had our youngest. And so this house was so important to us. Like,
yeah.
it was like this safe haven for us. It was our
Yeah.
true home, right? And I like came undone when we were
Yeah.
packing this house up to
I
move,
bet.
because
I
it
bet.
happened so quick. Like, we said we wanted to do it. We planned on doing it within a year. This opportunity came up. We jumped on it and we did it, right? And I started to unravel and come undone. And my sister's like, "Are you kidding me? Everything you said you
Yeah.
wanted, you literally just manifested it, and now you're freaking out." And I'm like, "You're right, I am. Wait, I got to be with that, and it's okay."
And yeah, because what you're coming undone about has been so apparent in your life, and now that release
Yep,
is triggering emotional and
yep,
physical,
yep,
because whenever we start getting what we want, it's like, and we don't realize, like, holy shit, I'm getting what I want.
yep,
And you're right, you can have like those that you start experiencing, and you think it's like, oh my god, am I supposed to hold on to this? Am I supposed
yep.
to still keep this?
Right. It's okay to like let it go, and it's okay. Like, I was like, all right, let me come to terms with that I'm actually getting what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I feel guilty, right? To have to get this big thing. And then I'm like, that's okay that I
Right.
felt a little guilty. Let me let it go. Let me be with it. Let me
Yeah.
sit with it, right?
Yeah.
Not let me ignore it. I felt
Mhm.
guilty. I let it go, right? And I do not feel guilty about it anymore. I felt sad about it. Okay, let me sit with being sad. Okay, let me let it go, you know? And being able to move through all of the emotions that I felt as we packed that house up and as we left.
Yes.
And as I released it, and of
Yes.
course I did all kinds of energy work to it,
Oh,
with in gratitude and love and I
yeah.
blessed
Sage and yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
So the new people are like they got some sparkly shiny shit in that house now.
Hell yeah.
What they do with it, that's up to
Right.
them. But I
Yeah.
left it, in pristine, energetic, alignment.
Love
So,
it.
mhm,
That's awesome.
yes.
And you'll soon be, excuse me, and you'll soon be in a brand new space.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's all
Super
good.
excited. Yeah. I hope I'm invited to the housewarming
Of
party.
course. As soon as I find a new house.
Yeah.
Thank God we're, staying with my son and daughter in love and grandson. And it's been so great to see that baby every single morning.
Where is he? Can he come on? Can we
He's
see?
not here. He left a little while ago. He went out.
Okay. I
He's very busy.
Oh, he's so cute. God,
He
he's so,
went to my mother's.
oh, and he'll be 1 soon?
Yeah, he'll be one next month.
Oh.
Mhm.
What are y'all gonna have a little birthday party?
Well, my daughter-in-law was just talking about it, like trying to figure out, how we're gonna celebrate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
God. Oh my God, Deborah, this has been just an incredible empowered conversation. Faux show.
Yes. Yes.
Anything, guys, her website as well as the link to her Facebook group, I have included within the description of the live video and as well my announcement. Anything else or that we can share of how people can reach out and work with
Sure.
you?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, if you go on my website and you go to the menu bar, go to book, and you can get a free PDF
Yes.
version of my book. It is available for purchase on Amazon, but you can get a free PDF of it.
Yes.
Um, if you go to my Instagram, which is just my name at Deborah Atella, my link tree is there as well.
Yes.
You could always, there's ways to contact me on there and on my website. Just send me an email. Let me know what you're looking for. If it's coaching or just energy work, either
Hmm.
one, I'm
Hmm.
available.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for those that were watching live. And thank you those who are watching on the replay. I sure hope that you share
Yes.
your insights and your personal thoughts about our incredible conversation today with my friend Deborah. Tell it like it is, and boy did she. She told it like it is. Well, guys, again, I appreciate everybody being on today and so super excited. Oh, come on, guys. You've got to join us for Clubhouse
Oh, yes.
every Tuesday at noon. Just download the Clubhouse app where, Deborah and Edna and I and several other phenomenal women are always having empowered conversations. And we invite you to join and share
Yes.
your heart. And, I will post a link, or you post like I know you and Edna did a live on Monday, a Zoom.
Hmm.
Is there a
We
link
can,
we can
yeah,
post in
we
here?
can
Yeah,
post
in the
a link
comments.
to we can post a link to the room, to the
Per-
club from head to soul. And then if you
Perfect.
follow that, or if you follow me or then you'll get notifications when we're on.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Hell to the yeah. All right, guys, you stay right here. I'm just going to say goodbye to
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Um, well, this is the end of this Wednesday's episode of Empower Conversations. Make sure to join us next Wednesday, 1 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel. Bye, guys.